To understand why a 15-word sentence almost destroyed America, you have to look at the Missouri Compromise of 1820. For 26 years, this was the sacred rule: slavery stays south of the 36 degrees 30 minutes line. It was a fragile, Cold War peace that kept the Union from fracturing. But in 1846, the Mexican-American War blew that map apart. Driven by the fever of manifest destiny, President James K. Polk requested a $3 million bill to negotiate a peace. Everyone knew the subtext: he was buying an empire. But the Missouri line didn't reach the Pacific. The old rules were dead, and a massive land grab was on. Out of the shadows steps David Wilmot. He wasn't a radical abolitionist, he was a Northern Democrat, a barnburner willing to burn down his own party to stop the expansion of slave power. Feeling betrayed by President Polk's pro-Southern policies, Wilmot scribbles an amendment that shatters the silence: neither slavery nor involuntary servitude shall ever exist in any land taken from Mexico. In an instant, the gag rule was dead. Wilmot didn't just propose a law, he pulled the pin on a political grenade that split the Democrats into warring factions: barnburners versus hunkers. The South's intellectual giant, John C. Calhoun, strikes back with his common property doctrine. He argued that territories belonged to all states, making any ban on slavery a horror story where Southerners were treated like second-class citizens. But a young congressman named Abraham Lincoln and the legendary Daniel Webster held the line. They fought for free soil, the idea that the West belonged to the free white laborer, not the wealthy plantation elite. The debate became so violent that congressmen began carrying Bowie knives and pistols onto the House floor for protection. 1848, the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo is signed. The U.S. gains the Mexican Cession, a territory larger than Western Europe. The proviso passes the House but is strangled in the Senate by the South's iron grip. This failure forced the disastrous Compromise of 1850. It gave the North a free California but gave the South the horror of the Fugitive Slave Act. Suddenly, Northern citizens were legally forced to be slave catchers. The Missouri Compromise was officially in the grave. The proviso never became law, but it changed human history. It shattered the Whig Party, birthed the Republican Party, and proved that America could no longer be half slave and half free. David Wilmot's scrap of paper was the friction that created the heat, which sparked the fire of the Civil War. He forced a nation to decide what it stood for. One man, one sentence, and a fuse that couldn't be extinguished. That is the Wilmot Proviso.